Hello, welcome back to the Hot Nerd Network, the ultimate destination where we celebrate diverse personalities from the real world to the grand line. I'm Hot Nerd, your guides through the captivating worlds of fandom, and I'm not alone today. I'm joined by Hot Nerd Walter. Hello.
Bonjour.
Hunter Walter is a huge fan of One Piece, and he's going to take today to educate me, who has never seen a lick of One Piece ever in my life. I know what One Piece is. I've been adjacent to the fandom my whole life from
Mhm.
all the fans around me. But Walter, I need you to educate me today about why One Piece is so important. But what got you into the fandom to start with?
Good question. If for those back in the day who used to watch Toonami on Cartoon Network, like it would have all the anime. I'm really
Yes,
super focused into Naruto, so that was like my show growing up. But One Piece
that was
would
me.
be
Yeah.
one around that same time. So I had seen a couple episodes and I wasn't really gagged. But like during COVID, I was like, you know what, this would actually be a really good time to start it. And it took me about 2 years to catch up. I'm caught up now. The new episode comes out at like midnight tonight. And I want to say it's like they're getting near episode 1100. Like it's very serious.
That's crazy. I didn't realize they were making new episodes still.
Yes, it is. It's like the show's been on for more than 20 years, like pretty
Yes.
coming out. And I think they have like 11, 12, 13, 14 movies. I saw the newest movie is One Piece Red, and it's actually came out last year. And it's not done. We still have a probably at least two more arcs, maybe more. I don't know. I'm not in the anime, but like it's not done. The One Piece has not been found. Today, today I'm looking up something, finding spoilers. So yes, that's how I got into One Piece. Like, and now it's literally my favorite show of all time. No
Wow, of all time? I didn't realize that. Yay! Well,
doubt.
we could see you look like a clear fan, and I'm very excited. But
It's
thank you
material.
for giving us cosplay, serving cosplay today. Thank you. Okay, so to explore the fandom for right now, since I'm very new to it,
Okay.
you know well, but I know personality systems very well, and I feel like it would be good for us to like combine that knowledge together using one of my favorite sites, the personality database, which I'll link below for those that are not with it. But we're going to go ahead and deep dive into some of our favorite characters, and then I would love for you to shed light on who you feel that you resonate with a bit. So please keep that in. First off, should we start off with Luffy? That's how you say his name,
Yes,
right?
yes, Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy,
Okay,
aka
tell me
Shark
more.
Luffy. Well, I don't know what you're better with the personality stuff. I just know mine. So I would love to hear like what is the ESFP, and then like we can take it from there.
Yeah. So let me which is going to be like a little cheat sheet that I like to use
Okay.
whenever it comes to talking about Myers Briggs. And for anybody watching this video, if you want to do like a deeper dive into the Myers Briggs character system or personality system, I'll link it somewhere around here and in the description. But typically, when we're thinking about Myers Briggs, there are letters involved. And that means that there's four different spectrums that of personality that there is as far as interpreting the world. So the first interpretation is like through energy movement. Are you extrovert or are you introvert? Somewhere in between. That's E or I. Then you have S or N, which is like how you gather information. Are you more present or are you in your head and thinking about the future? Or T and F is like the way that you make your decisions. Do you make it off of cause and effect and off of empirical facts, or do you make it off of human values and your feelings, which is like thinking and feeling? And then last is like the P versus J, which P means that you're very open, flexible, to time. You might work in bursts versus like one long linear line. Versus judging has more settled approach to time, likes completion, works gradually and consistently, chooses routine, things of that nature. So when we're thinking about an ESFP, we also have to think about the combination of these like functions that we just talked about, and or sorry, these traits, and these traits combine together to create what's called psychological types and functions. Psychological functions, so cognitive functions, if you want to think of it that way. So for ESFP, here that their function stack starts with SE, which is shorthand for extroverted sensing. So this is going to be like the hero function for this particular type. And this is going to kind of embody what we first see from a person because it's like what the ego decides to present itself as. So this is where Luffy comes in. Sorry. This is where Luffy comes in, where extroverted sensing focus
Okay.
on enjoyment, attends to physical sensations of the world, oriented to the present and its opportunities, seeks
Yes.
pleasure, intensity, excitement, experiences
Mhm.
the world interaction, trusts in the world to give and provide, but can also be impatient, short-sighted, and have no direction. So, what does that give you, Loopy, at all?
Yeah, they read him down with this. Like everything is giving check, 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 check. Like he's very much like on beating to his own drum. And that's actually kind of a concept in the anime. They don't really touch it in the Netflix portion yet, but there's something called the Emperor's Hockey, where basically certain very rare, special, powerful people in this universe can basically cause lesser willed humans to like submit to their will, basically like
Hmm.
pass out. So like not that they're like zombies in mind control, but it's like once I unleash my yib that I have in the chamber, you're knocked out. Period. I don't have to touch you. Like people are falling out just when I release yib. And I think that really works with Luffy because again, beat his own drum. Nobody's telling him what to do. When it comes behind this hat, when it comes behind his crew, when it comes behind his friends and those that he really cares about, there's literally nothing that gets in the way, whether it be the government, whether it be other pirates, anything. Any obstacle he will overcome, in order to do what
Wow.
he needs to get done. And he's also very spur of the moment. Like
Yeah. The
some
P.
yeah, something that his crew like because there's a lot of people in his crew that are like technically smarter than he is. So they're like, why would you do this? Why would you do that? I wouldn't have thought about this. He was like, look, I'm not gonna cuss, but F all that stuff. Um, I'm doing what I need to do because in my heart, that's what I feel I need to do. So
Yeah.
there's much
Yeah.
like and another aspect of Luffy, at least in the beginning, like when he's not as strong, is like luck tends to play a lot of the role. So
Wow.
it can be perceived as luck or like divine alignment, but like even though he's not really thinking about stuff and he's just living his life and things are just naturally falling into place and he's manifesting what he needs to manifest. Period. And he's super stubborn, like because he's really dedicated on what he wants to do, and it's usually it's to be king of the pirates, which is this whole
Right.
big thing. But there's so many smaller, sometimes even like more simple feeling goals that he's achieving that's leading him into his divine path.
I love that. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool to see how like something that, is kind of in a sense a lot of people can connect to becomes more nuanced within this character. I'm definitely hearing all of the elements of an ESFP worked in here. Even though we're focused on the dominant, I'm hearing that function of what would it be? I said FI, yeah. So introverted feeling is
Mm.
the second. function under an ESFP, which means this. Remember, feeling goes back to going off of human values, but when you're putting the introverted part to it, so that means that you're turning it in on your own values, not what the outer world thinks, but what you particularly value. What is your identity? How are you going to honor your beliefs? And I'm hearing that piece when it comes to Luffy, and then I'm also hearing, that perceiving action, which really comes in with how the functions are stacked. So the fact that SE is, SE, which is like very present, very in the moment, but very like adaptable in the moment. They're also very good physically, usually with anything to do with the body, whether that's like athletics or sports. They're usually very good at that. It's very easy for them to be tactile and get caught up on that quickly. Versus
Right.
NI is like the inferior. It's kind of like the shadow in a sense of who he would be, and that means like that's somebody who's very future thinking, and that's very hard for an ESFP to do. Would you agree that that kind of gives Luffy at all?
Yeah, that gives Luffy, and a really cool aspect that I guess I just made the connection about the athleticism, about like the body. Like,
Mhm.
so his devil fruit power is like he's a rubber man, so he can stretch and all that stuff. But there's a couple, like, there's three main categories of devil fruit powers, and devil fruit powers is how they get these superhuman abilities. But
Okay.
his category is specifically like characterized as like alterations to your own body, and
Wow.
enhancing that. So that was a really cool connection. That it sounds like the personality also aligns with the power he just happens to have in the universe.
Cool. Well, no, that's really awesome. That is. It's this is why I love talking about this stuff. But it's really great to talk about actual fans because I don't
Yeah.
know nothing. But let's go ahead and dive into another character here. We're gonna go ahead and pop back and honestly, I'd love to get your thought process on who we should go to next. I'll just roll a little slow here. Sorry for all the pop ups.
Well, me personally, because I am so focused on myself, I want to find someone who matches mine, which is Ola Hancock. But shout out to Nico Robbins. She's like one of my favorite characters.
Okay, we can always go back. We can always go back, but let's
Say,
start with Boa.
yeah, I would say Nico is like my second favorite behind Luffy, and she's probably my third. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, little context. Boa Hancock is the queen of the Amazons, which is an
Okay.
island that is only inhabited by women. In fact, the only men, well, probably the first and one of the only men who were allowed into the island was actually Luffy. And that's where she fell
Oh
in love
wow.
with him. But this is a baddie through and through. Like, she does not play. So her,
Great.
the love fruit. So basically, if you feel any sort of attraction to her, she can basically turn you into a stone, like Medusa. So she really uses
Wow.
her femininity and her beauty to add to her power. And she is
Yeah,
like super bougie, super the queen. She does not address anyone beneath her. Like, come correct when you talk to her, because she's not one of them, period.
I love that. No, it's so cool because I know we're going to be focusing on Myers Briggs, but spoiler alert, I have like a feminine archetypes personality video coming out very soon, like next week. It should be. Like it's scheduled for that time. And one of the archetypes is queen, and this is definitely giving that. And so check
Yeah.
it out, yeah, people. But this is giving that, like as far as just the values, the power of it, but also potentially the drawbacks. Why'd you feel though connected to Boa?
I felt a lot more connected to her when I found out that we had the same personality. But I like Boa because she is where I feel connected to her is she has a very, I guess, intense view of herself. How can I rephrase that? But basically, in her mind, when it comes to her, like, she does not play regardless of the environment, regardless of the situation. She knows, like, hey, I'm this person, and you're going to address me as such, even if you may not know that I will like that. So, part of her story is she actually was a slave. So, a big
Wow.
thing in the show is like she doesn't ever show her back because on her back is essentially like a tattoo or a brand that she got when she was in slavery. And she was enslaved by
Oh, wow.
basically the highest ranking official of the universe. So basically, like the people who run the government. So, like, not even like the president, but like above the president, like, very high elite people was the people who enslaved her. But she essentially escaped and, she became the queen. But, you know, despite like kind of coming up through the ranks like that, I feel she always had a really strong connection to herself and as well as her sisters who were also kind of enslaved as well. This is very timely because she is definitely part of she's basically the inspiration for Megan the Stallion's new video Boa.
Yes! Oh my gosh, I didn't make that connection. I was like, I know it's some sort of anime, but I didn't know it was One Piece.
And Boa,
Oh,
her devil fruit power, well, the love thing, but she's also very connected to snakes. So the love power is kind of Medusa snake moment. Both of
yes,
her sisters
yes.
can turn into giant snakes essentially. One's an anaconda and one's something else, like a viper cobra. So very much snake universe, boa, Meg, like she took her outfit, like that hair, like that chop black thing, that's from Boa. And the song doesn't even mention Boa in it, but it's named Boa, which is a little gripe I have with Meg. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like she's just naming the songs anything that don't even,
Yeah, she does.
but yeah, so this is a
I feel like
very
it's like Easter
powerful
eggs, like her own little Easter egg world.
yes, we're like, yes, we're connecting to the real world in this case. One Piece very relevant in the pop culture, very relevant.
Right, right. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you for making that connection. That makes me so excited. And then, please tell me more. Like, I know this is a little bit of pre-recording piece, but you have to. I cracked up when you told me about how she addresses people. How does she look at
So
Boa?
actually, I had to follow up, but she basically addresses people like this. So she points to them so they know who they are, but she keeps her
It's
like
crazy.
high because she's like, you that's just the literal embodiment that I'm better than you. Like, bitch. Listen.
Presents?
I'm correct. Like, I'm actually gonna start using that. Like, I'm just like, anyway,
Please, please.
yeah. So this is
Upcoming
just
Halloween costume ready.
honestly, you actually have me inspired. Like, because the costume is sickening. Like, I would have to like probably drop this a couple more inches, but
No,
I'd be down for it. I'd be down for it. And she's
I
also
love.
madly in love with Luffy. She just loves him
Oh,
so much. He doesn't even really realize it, to be honest, and nor does he care. But oh, how did you do that?
no.
But this is actually
It was on my phone. iPhone. I
okay.
does it.
That's actually how she activates her power. So when she wants to turn you into a
Oh,
stone, she goes like this, boom, and like a beam comes out, and like they'll be frozen like that.
wow.
And that's
Look at all the synchronicity.
and that's also like a big reason why no men have made it um to the island because usually like when Marines come, it's usually like a ship of men, and she's a baddie, and period, and the body is tea. So when she pull up and she hits y'all with this, they're
It's
stone
over. She's like
done.
a siren. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
That's I love strong female fit characters and like those with depth. It sounds like she has a lot of depth. You don't always see ENTJ women not be the villains.
hmm
And let's talk about why. Like if you can imagine if you've seen like the Devil Wears Prada,
yeah.
Miranda Priestley is another ENTJ character.
Wow, but this is really insightful for me because I feel like, I don't feel like I'm a villain, but I feel like in a lot of people's mind I am. So I'm glad
No,
it.
but
But
I
she
mean,
is
yes, if you want to be.
she is actually like she's like a anti-hero. She's like out of all the
Yeah.
characters, she's like on the line the most. So
Hmm.
basically, the reason why. another reason why she's so powerful in this universe is she's part of the seven warlord system. So basically, the government and the pirates are really at each other. They're like the pirates are the
Okay.
because pirates are, some of them are heroes, but really most of them are villains. And then the world government, like, it's a corrupt government. So there's really, in this universe, no, very few true heroes, and usually the true heroes are the pirates because the just marine is just inherently being run by evil people. But basically, the seven warlord system is, they said you seven pirates can be pirates without the marines coming after you, just as long as when the marines call you to action, you're on our side. So basically, they're pirates who have come into an agreement with the government, and she is the only woman who's part of that system. But the where this kind of ties into the villain versus hero thing is when they actually call her to be like on the side of the Marines and fight against the other pirates, one of them being Luffy. She actually doesn't do that, and she fights alongside Luffy, aka, the other side. So she's really kind of playing both sides, but really just on the pirate side. So it, depending on who you ask in the universe, it's going to change whether she's a hero or a villain. But similar to Luffy, like, regardless of what anyone says, you know, regardless of what, you know pact she's made or who she's against, she's going to do what she wants to do, and there's really not much you can do about it because she's that girl. Period.
All right. So thank you for that extra history on just Boa in the larger world of One Piece. Let's get into like talking a bit more about her as the like through the lens of ENTJ. We
Yeah.
already talked about her kind of like a queen, but like what makes her an ENTJ? Oh, well, even before we said that, I do want to say it's funny that you said she's kind of on the line because that does like also connect to her personality trait as a true neutral. This is character alignment, and like I said, ENTJs are usually on the evil side. Like people say neutral evil. Neutral means self-interested. Okay? Like that's what
Okay.
neutral means. And, evil means what it means, like nefarious.
Yeah.
But if you could also be neutral good, like self-interested, but still a good person. But
Yeah.
this means like true neutral. She's truly always going to be out for her best self-interest. So that has to do with her character alignment. And
I
that's
gotta
funny
put
that you
me
said
first,
she's like one of the
Lucian.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it. So now when we're getting into her as an ENTJ, we can see that we can see that her dominant function is extroverted thinking. So that's that again. That's the hero function. That's what embodies most of her ego and she's very good at these traits of extroverted thinking. Which other like word is order? They attend to problems and obstacles of the world, very oriented to creating order and structure, seeks consistency and efficiency. They experience the world through results. They are assertive. They tackle challenges head on, but they can also be hasty, judgmental, and controlling. First off, do you see yourself in any of these? And then do you see Boa in any of these as
Oh,
well?
I was really thinking about Boa. I feel like that definitely works with both of us. Like, I'm very order oriented. I don't remember what the thing you actually said, but what how it registered in my mind was like confrontational. And I think both me and Boa are confrontational. She's very much like, okay, what's going on my island? I will go there myself to fix it if
I
that's
love
what
that.
she says. Um, yes, I'm assertive. She's assertive. Tackling the challenges head on. Yeah, that's what it was. Hasty, judgmental, and controlling, I guess, are the negative terms, but I agree. I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't like to use the word judgmental, but I have opinions, and
I love that.
I use them to myself. But they do pop up in my head, and controlling, like, I'm working on it, but I'm like, I'm the I'm the oldest of like two brothers, so like very
Oh,
much from the jump, it was like, okay, this is what is going on, and I
period.
answer. So that's what's going to happen.
I love that. No, and the thing is, every single trait, every single personality type will always have a shadow side. We all have shadow sides. It's
Mhm.
just how do we try to deny them, or do we try to work with them? Do we embrace them? And so this is all good. This is we always want to make sure we're aware, and that's really cool to see how both connect. Because yes, even when you're talking about Boa, the fact that she is more like likely to take care of her own challenges or own needs is very much like the extroverted thinking. Extroverted thinkers are very good at organizing others. That the others piece is the extroverted piece versus introverted thinking is very good at organizing themselves.
Mhm.
Extroverted thinkers organize themselves, but they're very good at organizing others, making sure that they can get others to do what they want them to do. And they share this dominant trait with ESTJs. The secondary trait, though, when we're thinking about ENTJs in their function stack, which makes them different than ESTJs, is the NI. And it's funny that she's so in love with Luffy, whose introverted intuition is his inferior function, for her secondary function, NI, is particularly referring to introverted intuition. So, what will be attends to own meaningful ideas and concepts oriented to grasping underlying essence, seeking insight into truth and being, experiencing the world through will. Like they are going to make something happen.
Mhm.
Approaches world with a unified vision, but could also be aloof, rationalizing, defensive of one's own ideas. Do you see this within Boa as well?
Yes, I do. Can you pull the statement
Yes.
back up? Let's see. Aloof, yes. Like I think the addressing whatever comment gives me aloof energy. Experiences the world through will, absolutely. Like, for example, like a part of her journey when we first get to know her is like the elders of the Amazon island are very against her going against their rules and letting Luffy in. So they're basically harboring Luffy from the government as he like heals. So, she's definitely not scared to like pave her own way and break all the rules if that's what she wants to do. And I feel like I align with that too. And seeks insights into truth and being. What does that even mean? I'm gonna let that one rest. I'm gonna let that one rest. But
Very
I because
analytical. Like they
very
very theoretical, like versus like sensing, where we talk about Luffy, like he's probably very present and
right,
like can really
right.
be aware of his surroundings. This is more so an awareness of the theories of the world, like what is the bigger strategy, like the
Mm.
more higher level aspect of something going on.
Got it, got it. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that and with myself as well. And then just another thing, like, obviously I've been watching One Piece and I love this show, but I've definitely never done like this personality deep dive. And clearly the writers were very cognizant of this. So I don't know, that just adds another layer of appreciation for me because I had no idea, but this makes total sense.
Yes, no, that's exactly why I love following it and kind of peeling back the layers of personality, because it's very much giving, like, how we all have different demographics, like black or woman or whatever. That's how I see the personalities, and they call it
Mhm.
kind of all intersect within each other to make a unique person. But when you
Right.
kind of break out the parts, it's really interesting to see how whether they tried to or not, the writers did so well at staying true to a character to the T, both in good
Right.
and bad. So
Right.
cool. Well, I know we talked a lot about Boa, but do you have time for one more character to pick?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and look back at our screen, and we will share the personality database. Feel free to look at the description, y'all, for the link to all the One Piece characters. But who would you want to look at next or last, really, for
Who would
this?
be interesting? So let's see. I guess let's go into I want to say let's go into Nico Robin, my second favorite character.
Okay.
And this is like
I love
this is a piece I want to just I have to say like so in One Piece there's basically like a time gap and it comes back.
Oh wow.
And they're like all the characters are slightly older, a lot stronger, XYZ. So if you watch Naruto, it's like Naruto to Naruto Shippuden, like they grow up a little bit and come
Okay,
back.
cool. Yes.
And one of the reasons why this was one of my favorite characters is she's one of the fewer like black or dark skinned or whatever you want to say characters. But when they
Right.
redesign her, like she is literally cannot be any paler, which hurt me so bad. Wait, I'm really gonna look it up. But she is one of my favorite characters, Nico, and she's like I feel like an introvert. So okay, look, literally, wait, this is what she looks like now.
Why?
Literally,
Like lily white.
yes, like they especially.
Aww.
And so the reason why I bring it up is because I see like that old version, and I'm like, are we not going to address this? Like that does not happen. Like
That's so frustrating.
yeah,
It's so frustrating to like
but
see the representation rolled back.
still love her down. But yeah, the writers, we see you, we see you. We did not like that.
Yeah, call them out, call them out. But what we do see is that she is an INTP, and I'm happy to like this is the first introverted character that
Right.
we encounter. So I'm happy to like talk a bit toward that. So an INTP is really fun. I actually really I have a kinship with INTPs. I'm an ENFP myself,
Okay.
but INTPs are governed by the dominant function of introverted thinking. So they're kind of opposite to, not opposite, like there's a kinship there when it comes to the extroverted thinkers, which is your dominant function. But this, instead of like I said, be very good at organizing others, introverted thinkers are very good of organizing themselves because they attend to their own framework of reasoning. Like they can be very coherent and make coherence out of anything. One of the prominent characters that comes to mind for INTP, if you're familiar, is Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Ooh.
But she's also like very much giving. INTPs are always kind of giving like that kind of the typical version of what we would think of like a nerdy girl. Like that's also kind of giving INTP, or very into, like they can be very stoic at times too. So anyways, TI, introverted thinking as a dominant function, is also oriented to accuracy and precision of knowledge. Again, the thinkers of the world and the feelers of the world like to make judgments very quickly, and they make their judgments based off of accuracy. They seek skillfulness and self sufficiency. They experience the world through calculation. They can be very self assured, confident in their own capabilities, but can also be detached, reductive, and dismissive. Do you see any of these traits within Nico?
Literally all of them. Like, and I'll just kind of rattle it off. So a little background about her is she's the ship's archaeologist.
Oh,
So
nice.
basically so accuracy of information. So she is one of the if one of if not the only person who can read and who can read an ancient language that
Wow.
details how to find the One Piece. So at the age of like 8, 5, 8, 6, something like that, she essentially got a doctorate in like archaeology, and that's why she knows this language and all of that stuff.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, the group of people she came up with, who were all like these really intelligent, smart adults, get wiped out essentially, and she's the sole survivor. So like when you say
Wow.
self-sufficient, introverted, it's really because she had to be, and she basically drifts alone until she meets Luffy's crew. So how they meet her
Right.
is there's initially she's the villain and she's on the opposite side of the conflict, but she is also like when they meet her, she has a different name. She wearing different clothes. She's basically like she's basically disguised herself. No one can really know her true identity because people are looking for her. So that's really interesting. And she's extremely intelligent. So the accuracy of information is super important. The self sufficiency. She does have to keep to herself because she can't let people know who she really is because when they find out, like it could harm them. And like a big reason why she stayed on Luffy's crew is because that was like really sent really since that was her first sense of family since all of her people back home got wiped out back in the day.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I just love the rich storytelling there, of really building like this big backstory for someone that would really make sense for why they would choose this type of style to approach the world. Because that's like Myers Briggs is very much the within your own consciousness at the very forefront of who you are as a person. It really does just dictate the style that you approach the world with. And so that would make a lot of sense, just her past traumas, but also like what she prides herself in, and like the usefulness that she can be to Luffy's crew as well. It all kind of comes together to into Nico. So that's pretty cool. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, well, one, thank you so much, Walter, for joining me on this like One Piece fan cam. This is like, if you guys like this sort of structure, please let us know in the comments below. But Walter, I hope that we can get you back for like more fandom. Like we've gone from Barbie all the way to like anime One Piece. Like,
Yes.
I love it. So I know there's much more to cover with both this world and many others. But I hope that we can have you back. Where can people find you though?
You can find me in New York, period, on the street, period. But I'm on Instagram, same name,
Yes.
GABAD the number three SS the baddest. And thank you so much for having me. Like again, this is my favorite show in the face of the planet. You should absolutely start to watch it. Like if I were you, what I would do is I would watch the Netflix
Okay.
live action because it's actually very accurate in terms of lining up with the anime. So the animes
Okay.
are like 21, 23 minutes, so
Okay.
they're really short, but as you already know, there's 1,100 of them. So basically, if you watch the Netflix show, you kind of skip the first 50 or so episodes. I don't know, you have to Google it.
Wow.
So it's a really, and like the beginning, as with all show, is the slowest part.
Right.
So once
Set
you
it up.
the full live action, they do a good thing of like kind of paraphrasing and moving along.
Yes.
So you kind of just get the hardest part of One Piece done
Cool.
in the live action. You build that connection to the characters, and then you jump into the anime, and you should be like smooth sailing from there. A lot of people think of it as like this is super intimidating and way too long, but the way I think about it is like a never ending show. Like think about all the times where you're sad that a show has ended
Yeah.
and you're like, damn, like they need to come back and make a remake or something like that. Just imagine you always have an episode to watch. So that's kind of what I
Right.
think about it is. So it's like I'm kind of like feel that comfort. And I think that because this show has so many episodes, like it has the richest universe like of
Um,
any anime that I've seen.
World building. You got me there.
They tackle so many like real world issues. Like they talk about racism and they have transgender and non-binary people in this universe. And something that I love about the live action that I think, and I also felt the same way about the Avatar live action, is like it just generates so many more emotions, at least for me personally. Because when you're watching a cartoon, like the cartoon could be going through anything, and you're going to feel bad for them. But like at the end of the day, you're like, this is a cartoon. When you see like an actual person, like so little, T, like in the live action, they have some characters in there that are fishmen, so they're like fish
Oh,
humanoid creatures. So that's where we kind of get into the race thing. And
yes.
we talked about slavery and all that stuff. So the
Yes.
fishmen have historically been enslaved, and
Mm,
now they are no longer enslaved, but they're only limited to live in the fishman world under the sea. and they're not recognized as like real people, and they encounter all this discrimination. And so when I'm watching the cartoon, I'm like, okay, this is a fishman. Like, I kind of get it. Cool. They're hinting at it. But when you're watching like the live action, even though this guy is a shark person, like that personhood comes a lot more forward, and you
Yeah.
really can kind of connect to the struggles that they're going through. So I'm just really, I mean, it's easily the best live action anime I've ever seen. Those are historically terrible, and this
Yeah,
one,
they
I feel amazing. I definitely think it got number one when it premiered. So
yeah.
I'll stop there. But best show ever made on the face of the planet. It never is stopping, never will stopping, and everybody should go see it. Period.
Period. No, I love a real fan. I love a hot nerd. That's what this
Right.
okay.
Don't be got
Yes.
shooters out here. Period.
Yes, for One Piece. No, I'm convinced you've sold me. I literally that was the best sales pitch I could have ever heard. Even better than all the ones I've heard so far. So I will definitely get started. And that's good to know to get started with the live action first, or you can, and that will skip
Yeah.
450 episodes. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Hopefully, you've inspired some other people to try it out too. So if you're a first time One Piecer like me, please comment. Please let us know. But if you're also a diehard fan like Hunter Walter, please let us know too. We want to hear your voices and also what characters you wish that we would have covered. Maybe we can do a part two to this at some point in time if there's enough interest. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll talk to y'all soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.